What's up, y'all? With North American Internationals coming up at the end of June to conclude Regulation C, most competitive players have been more secretive in sharing the specifics of their teams. So to help out newer players who aren't confident in completing open team sheets with TVs, I've been providing rentals of successful teams. And today I've recreated Gavin Michaels' signature Rain team from Regulation C. He's been iterating on Rain throughout the year to great success, winning the Oceania International Championship and continuing to innovate on the archetype to take second place at Fresno Regionals most recently. This team is really different from most in the meta, having lots of overlapping typing and no fire types, but despite that it's really challenging to crack through its defense while also withstanding its offense. The Pelipper and Azumarill stand out most in the metagame, with Azumarill taking crazy KOs with Terra Water, Aqua Jet, and Rain, and Pelipper handling any Amoonguss that could disrupt that combo with Hurricane. Rain also effectively eliminates your Amoonguss' own fire type weakness, and Iron Hands lets the team position well with Fake Out and Volt Switch, and most importantly can sit on the field against Iron Bundle, which otherwise threatens a lot of the team. Flutter Mane here acts more as an enabler than a centerpiece of the team, using Trick Room to let Iron Hands, Amoonguss, and Azumarill take control of battles by moving first. The Gholdengo is holding an unconventional item, the Choice Scarf here, since the team is otherwise pretty weak to Flutter Mane, and having the option to turn 1, outspeed, and knock out Flutter Mane with Make It Rain is really valuable, especially since a lot of them have been using the Terra Fairy Choice Spec set, so they don't really have any other counterplay other than switching out. Ryan Haig also took a second place finish at Hartford with the same team Gavin made, with a small adjustment of Nasty Plot over Thunderbolt on Gholdengo to function better after using Trick. And a few players at Fresno had some success with using Gothitelle over Amoonguss, so there's definitely still room for innovation in this archetype. Overall, this is easily the most fun team of Regulation C to me, and I recommend you all check it out with the rental code shown or the Pokepaste that I have in the description. With all that, let's get into some ranked Battle Stadium ladder. Alright, so we'll be starting at Great Ball, rank 8. We've slowly been climbing up to Master Ball tier. I think this team in particular is going to be really strong for climbing the rank ladder. I think it's an excellent team in Best of 3, but it's also way better. Okay, glitching. Love to see that. All those Pokemon are just flashing from previous teams, but yeah, this team's got a lot of little tricks that make it especially potent in Best of 1. The Trick Room, bulky Flutter Mane, of course, and then the Choice Scarf Gholdengo being the main ones. Playing against Green, rank 8, and they have something that kind of... So, balance, but no Amoonguss, which is kind of interesting. I think that's really benefits our Rain Pokemon here a lot, but yeah, I think that benefits that a ton. Like, there's not a ton that they can do against Azumarill. Azumarill, I kind of vary on how I pronounce it, but Azumarill is really, really good against Baxcalibur if they're not Assault Vest. And even if they are, like, the best they can do is do a random Terra type, which I can scat out with Protect. I want to be wary of their Gholdengo, though. I think Flutter Mane's a pretty strong lead for me. I could do a lot of interesting things here, honestly. I think I'm going to lean towards the Trick Room mode here. Going Azumarill in these 3, and now I pick my last. I think a Surprise Gholdengo could be pretty good, but I'm going to actually just go full Trick Room here. I think Amoonguss really favors me in a lot of situations. Not so much Spore or Rage Powder, but the ability to Pollen Puff myself up after taking hits seems like it'd be really to my benefit. Like, any damage taken on Flutter Mane early in the battle to get a Trick Room up isn't the end of the world if I can heal him right back up later with a Pollen Puff. Alright, they got a cute Slowbro, shiny, big flex there. Iron Bundle and Iron Hands into our Flutter Mane and Iron Hands. So I like this a fair bit. So we see the booster energies pop off. Obviously the Iron Bundle is going to underspeed. We're going to underspeed their Iron Bundle. I think getting damage on that is really valuable. It's really nice that they can't fake out my Flutter Mane. Because I think I have a pretty free Dazzling Gleam here. That's a lot of damage. That's tempting, but I think maybe just Trick Room is stronger here, honestly. Like, the temptation is definitely strong to go fake out Dazzling Gleam, but if I get Trick Room up, I should be able to get enough damage later on anyways. So they get an Icy Wind crit onto Iron Hands, but they lower both of our speeds, which is interesting. And now we get the best of one Trick Room Flutter Mane off. Okay, so we would have had a free big Dazzling Gleam there. I don't think it would have knocked out their Iron Bundle, unfortunately. Our Flutter Mane's quite slow, but I don't think slower than their Iron Hands, unless they're running a lot of speed. So what I don't want to do... I think I'm going to switch in my Amoonguss. I'm kind of forfeiting my booster energy, but that was always going to happen. You know what? Yeah. I want to make use of my Trick Room turns well, so threatening or forcing a Terra seems really strong to me here. We're going to Drain Punch the Iron Bundle, just to heal back any damage they did to us. Yeah. And they protect, which is, kind of what we anticipated, but now we see the speed tiers of the Iron Hands going off. We got a Fake Out last... Oh, they go Volt Switch, so that indicates that they don't have... Yeah, that's valuable information. They don't have... not certainly, but they most likely don't have Heavy Slam. They have Excalibur coming in, which I'm super okay with. I think I'm actually just going to... Unless they're Terra Ice, they don't actually threaten a knockout onto our Amoonguss, so... Man, if they're Terra Grass, that'd be pretty cool. So I'm going to Spore the Excalibur and go for a Drain Punch in the Iron Bundle. Depending on their spread, I have this Iron Hands pretty offensive. A Wild Charge would guarantee... Okay, they protect Excalibur, so just going for protects. Okay, this has a chance to knock out, yeah. Against no bulk Iron Bundle, you kind of want a lot of attack investment on their Iron Hands, so your Drain Punches always knock out, so you don't have to waste all that HP knocking them out with Wild Charge. But yeah, they do go for kind of an interesting spot. They go for their Iron Hands, which is fair enough. I'm still kind of happy in this position, right? They are threatening Fake Out now, but I think if I can... I think I kind of might... A bit tricky. Because most likely they're just going to Fake Out, tank this hit, and then hit a big Icicle Crash. So I think what I'm going to do is play a little bit offensively here. I'm just going to take the damage on the Excalibur. I think most likely they go for their Terra type here. But in the off chance that they don't, we'll get a lot of damage off with Drain Punch. Probably knock them into range of Dazzling Gleam or Shadow Ball next turn. We see Fake Out into Amoonguss. Drain Punch goes into backs. That's definitely in range of a Shadow Ball or a Dazzling Gleam. Okay, so we see Icicle Spear. We see 3 hits, 4, so they're most likely at this point 5 hits, loaded dice, right? You kind of assume that. I forget. Was I cheeky that I put speed in this Azumarill? I did not. Probably should go Brave. Oh no, our Iron Hands is, I think, got a little bit of speed investment, so we know with certainty that Iron Hands underspeeds. So I'm going to go for a Play Rough here and a... So Volt Switch would be an option for sure, but I think most likely, like I kind of wanted to Volt Switch the Iron Hands and Play Rough the Iron Hands. Did Trick Room not go up? Why did my Iron Hands outspeed my Azumarill? Am I tripping out? Like, I thought my Azumarill was 70 speed and my Iron Hands was 60 or 73. So why did I move first? 70, 73. Oh, Icy Wind. Aren't I a silly goose? Okay. So yeah, that was a bit of a blunder there. I still feel pretty solid about my position. I think I just have to be cautious, take my damage. The temptation is obviously very, very strong to go for the Grass Terra on my Iron Hands. To survive a Fairy move, they go for Shadow Ball, but I think that would have really opened myself up to losing to the Loaded Dice Icicle Spear play into Iron Hands, and we'll see how much damage that does. If it does more than 50, then we would have got knocked out, obviously, just the way the, super effective damage works. Wow, we actually would have lived if they had only got 4, but not the case. So our slow and steady approach seems to be working out pretty well for us, and now we kind of just clean up with Aqua Jet and Wild Charge. So what was really valuable about that endgame, I think, is like we didn't get much the first turn. We got Trick Room and a bit of Fake Out Chip instead of going for a lot of Dazzling Gleam damage, potentially a knockout on the Iron Bundle and a ton onto the Iron Hands. But we forfeited that, given that Dazzling Gleam was susceptible to like Arcanine switching in, a whole bunch of options that they could have gone for. But Trick Room was always going to give us 4 turns of speed superiority, especially after they Icy Winded. So yeah, really, really happy with that turn 1 decision and what it yielded in the late game. We lost our booster energy, but eventually, even if they had gotten through my Azumarill and Iron Hands and Trick Room, they would have had to deal with Amoonguss Flutter Mane, who probably get Trick Room up again, and then just with Redirection, Pollen Puffs, or Dazzling Gleam, like it's really hard to contend with this team, just because defensively it's so strong and offensively it's like putting on just as much pressure. All right, a Muddy 1 rank above us at rank 9. Okay, they have that European Squawkabilly team. So I know Dun Sparse gets the Horn Drill or the Hyper Drill or something that essentially is like beefy, no priority feint. Squawkabilly can Parting Shot, I'm pretty sure. It's normal flying. Yeah, interesting team here. There's probably a sneaky taunt somewhere, but Amoonguss just feels like it dismantles a little bit, but so does Gholdengo. I think if I can trick their Annihilate or something, that'd be really, really nice. Tatsugiri's certainly Storm Drain, which really limits the ability for Azumarill to go in. So I think what I'm going to go for is Iron Hands, Gholdengo, then I want to be able to weather the storm if I get mispositioned a little bit with Amoonguss. And Pelipper or Flutter Mane, I think, is going to be my last pick. I think I'll go with Flutter Mane, just because I think Pelipper could have been strong. It just really depends what the Annihilate Terra is. Like, if it's a Fire Terra, that could have been good, but I don't know. I think Trick Room might be really valuable for us. Their team's like relatively slow paced, but they also don't love playing in Trick Room, I think. So we see Squawk and Klefki. Temptation is obviously quite strong. Intimidate, okay. Are they Final Gambit or something like that? They might be. How fast is Squawkabilly? Because if I can just nail the Annihilate on switch, that'd be pretty cool. I think I am just going to go for Make It Rain, Volt Switch, or Fake Out into Klefki. Just because if I can stop their screens from going out, this does a lot of damage. They go for Tailwind, which, yeah, I think there's Scarf on this team, so this kind of gives me a free Volt Switch. Oh, that's a lot of damage. I think they're kind of going to try and get Annihilate in here, so given that, I want to go into Amoonguss, and I don't mind resetting. Like, Volt Switch is good for sure, but I think getting damage off into Klefki is more important. If I can limit how annoying it is, that'd be really valuable. Like, because of their Intimidate, this won't knock out. A Wild Charge wouldn't have either, so they certainly will get both screens up. But I think I'm okay with that. I could only let them get one screen up, but I'd be exchanging, a Make It Rain, bit of -1 slight screen damage onto that, which is not going to be worth the tick of the extra Rage Fist tick that it would otherwise get. So we get a Amoonguss in here. Honestly, oops. I think I'm just going to go to Audie's channel. This is kind of cheating, but... Oh, James Beck literally just featured this team. Yeah, we're definitely going to look at the paste, just because we're cheaters, but... Yeah, they're Bulk Up, Terra Fire, Defiant, so I think this is a very, very free Spore. They just went for Light Screen. They could Protect. I think I'm going to Spore, Annihilate. Yeah, Spore that, and then... Oops. My bad. Yeah, I Drain Punched the Annihilate because I ran out of time. So, dumb on me. But, yeah, they're going to go for the Bulk Up. I can clear Smog that away. The Thunder Wave does complicate it a little bit. For sure. Yeah, that's annoying. Okay. You know what? Actually, now I could be a little bit cheeky. I could just put asleep the Klefki and switch in my Gholdengo. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I could Volt Switch the Klefki. Goodness. I could Volt Switch Klefki, but I don't want it to like crit, knock out, and also keeping Klefki on the field is nice. Wow, they never got Reflect Up? Yeah, that lack of Drain Punch was really bad for me then. Okay. Their Tailwind peters out. I think I kind of like... Do I want to trick them? Who can they have in the back? I think we just kind of want to keep a lid on this Annihilate and not let it get Bulk Ups up. Okay, Thunder Wave the Gholdengo. Very nice. Like, if they wake up and go for... They'll most likely go for Rage Fist, unfortunately. But I don't mind this. Yeah, they stay asleep. We also do not move, so kind of trading there. they're now free to lock into a move. I think my best move might be Clear Smog, stall another turn. They got one more turn of... Okay. Yeah, Annihilate's a little tricky for this team to deal with, honestly. Okay. Yeah, they could be going for Dazzling Gleam, but I guess they're trying to cover a switch. Oh, they actually probably got Max Sleeps, which is nice. But yeah, Clef P is finally off the field, so no more light screens for the rest of the game. No more Thunder Waving my Flutter Mane, no more Thunder Waving anything, but they kind of got the most relevant Thunder Wave off. Okay. So now they have 100 base power Rage Fist, which is certainly annoying, no doubt about that. Brave Bird. Okay. I think they probably go for Brave Bird into that slot. I really need to preserve my Fairy Terra, I think. I think I'm totally good letting them Brave Bird my thing though, right? This would be a good parting shot opportunity for them. If they make that read, that'd be pretty strong for them. I do want to preserve my Amoonguss though, because I think I'm going to need Amoonguss Flutter Mane and did not get paralyzed for a little bit to win this endgame. They really have not gotten the picture on Good as Gold, the most broken ability. Okay, but they Rage Fist at the same time, so good play there. We live, frighteningly. Gholdengo, you monster, but also Annihilate, you bulk monster. They do not have a lot of attack investment. But we do get a little bit of leftovers healing, and we see their last Pokemon. And it's Ting-Lu. That's good to see. Yeah, okay. I think I'm just gonna Drain Punch the Ting-Lu and honestly just Shadow Ball this Annihilate. I'm kind of getting annoyed by it. It'd be really nice if I had something like a Terra. Let's not. Let's fake out, switch into Amoonguss. Just to burn a potential Terra on their Ting-Lu. My concern here is I think I have a good shot to win this, but I think a Drain Punch into Ting-Lu works fine there. Okay, Rage Fist doesn't do that much, and now I think we'll go for the Drain Punch and the Spore into Annihilate, try and keep a lid on that. And hopefully they are not Fisher Ting-Lu. And we see another Rage Fist. Hopefully that's into Iron Hands. I hope, if they haven't realized that Amoonguss is my win condition yet. But I can kind of keep resetting my Amoonguss. It's doing a little more than a Regenerator tick, it looks like. What? What? Okay, alright. Drain Punch did less than 50 to Ting-Lu, what? And they hit the Fisher. Okay. Alright. Oh, because of Reflect. Right. Alright, I can't really afford to play much more games. I think I need to force one of them to Terra. So I'm going to come in here and... Ugh. I think I have the bulk to live a Heavy Slam. Let me calc that. Like I'm bold near max defense on the Flutter Mane. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I live. So I don't have to go for... I don't have to go for Rage Powder if I don't want to, which I don't think that I do. I think I'm going to go for Spore into Tinglu. Maybe Pollen Puff was better, just give myself a little more juice, but I think at this point in the game, they're most likely... The HP won't be so valuable because I'm just going to start stacking up Rage Fist boost for them. And they just refuse to Terrastalize, man. Like, I could have hit their Annihilate a bunch of times with Shadow Ball, but yeah. Okay, so we 2-hit KO their... Okay, yeah. So I figured... We're still super not out of the woods. Because if they outspeed us, they'll now knock us out. Yeah, probably should have gone for Trick Room Spore that turn. Because if I assume I'm going to get the Spore off anyways, they do not Terrastalize their Annihilate yet again. But I was thinking, if I assume I just need to hit one of those turns, if I need to get paralyzed just not one of those turns, then I probably just want to get Trick Room up so that my Gholdengo can handle their Choice Scarf Annihilate a little better. But yeah, Annihilate is kind of a problem matchup for this team, I'm not going to lie. You have to get very creative in your game plans. I know that Trick is oftentimes a good option. Like if you can trick them into a bulk up, that's really, really strong. But we tricked them after they were asleep, which is not the best case scenario. But yeah, really interesting team for my opponent. Squawkabilly, Intimidate, Tailwind, Parting Shot, really interesting support options. And Klefki, we know, a bit of a nuisance. Light screens and all that mess, always a challenge to play against. But we come up on top, and we're now striking distance from Ultra Ball tier. Waza, rank 10. Our opponent is an Ultra Ball tier, and they've got an interesting looking team. They have King Gambit. Oh, a lot of dark types. They have King Gambit, Chi-Yu, Murkrow, Iron Magneton, Iron Bundle, and then Flutter Mane. So, very offensive team. I think this is going to be another Trick Room game, obviously. One of the best ways to combat Tailwind is just get Trick Room up, and they really only have King Gambit of their own to contest that. I think I'll go Iron Hands, Flutter Mane again as my lead. I'll be able to Volt Switch out into Azumarill to handle their King Gambit if they go for something like Terra Fire. And the only question now is, once Trick Room goes away, do I want Gholdengo? Or do I want to focus on priority Aqua Jets with Pelipper? Or do I want to defend with Mungus? I think the Chi-Yu and Sun is enough of a threat that I kind of want to go Pelipper, but... Yeah, I haven't really shown off Pelipper very well so far, so we'll get a game in here. Just because I think it's reasonably likely they're going to try and use Sunny Day on their Murkrow at some point, if I can't knock it out in time. But I think I've led against Murkrow pretty well, and that shouldn't be a major concern, in my opinion. But we'll see. Against hyper-offensive teams like this, you really... a lot of it comes down to what they lead. You can really if you catch them out of position, they have no legs to stand on. If they take out your Trick Roomer, it's a similar situation. But they go Iron Bundle and Murkrow versus Flutter Mane, Iron Hand, so I kind of like this spot. I honestly don't even think I need to get Trick Room up, necessarily. I don't need to, but I think it's definitely beneficial. So I'm going to go for Fake Out Trick Room into the Murkrow. They could be Covert Cloak, they could be Terra Ghost, but if they end up going for like a Terra Ghost, I'm pretty happy with that. And see Iron Bundle Protect. I'd have been pretty happy with that just because them trading their Terra turn 1 for maybe a taunt in my Flutter Mane and some damage with Iron Bundle isn't that detrimental, especially because I can Drain Punch any damage back up on any damage dealt back to Iron Hands, and then I can just Shadow Ball the Murkrow next turn. So now we're in a situation you really don't want to be in one of them. So what I'm going to do now is just start going for damage. Drain Punch would be optimal here if Iron Bundle does not Terra. Okay. But I just wanted to cover that for them going for a Ghost Terra. They wouldn't gain much outside of stifling momentum with one of their Protect Pokemon, which when you're playing Trick Room, you have to be pretty mindful of. Yep, and their Murkrow is slower than my Flutter Mane. I have no EVs in speed in my Flutter Mane, but just such a naturally fast Pokemon. But we end up getting a double knockout here in the second turn after getting Trick Room up, and there's not really any signs of slowing down. So we might actually not get to show off. We might get to show off our. We might get to show off Flutter Mane and Azumarill yet. If they're able to stall out Trick Room, I am super excited for what we have in store. But yeah, they cancel. They know if Azumarill's in the back, if I get any damage onto either of these Pokemon, an Aqua Jet's going to clear them out. Yeah, just not a good situation for them to be in. So turn 3 forfeit. Got to be happy about the efficiency of that one. Hopefully that's enough to push us into Ultra Ball tier. They were a high-ranked opponent. But yeah, like I was saying, this team can be really effective at churning out wins at a pretty good pace. Alright, we found our opponent. Owen, rank 9. Alright. They're cooking with some Series 1 sauce. Outside of the Scream Tail, of course. But yeah, Meowscarada, the perennial 8 and 5, showing at every regional. There's always one. Tauros not far behind. But yeah, I think I like Pelipper a fair bit here. It has super effective damage into everything but Azumarill and Scream Tail. And Amoonguss also could be pretty good. This seems like a weird lead, Pelipper Amoonguss, but it's actually more troublesome for most people to handle than you would expect. Just because they cover each other's bases pretty well. I think Iron Hands is really strong into them, and as is Gholdengo. We're gonna skip using Flutter Mane and possibly Azumarill for the first time. No, we didn't bring Azumarill into Annihilate battle, even though we probably should have, just because we were so scared of Tatsu. But yeah, I think Trick can be really, really potent into Garganacl, especially if we trick them. I guess we won't be able to trick them into a wide guard, but if we trick them at all, suddenly they don't have leftovers recovery, and they're not able to hit recover or protect, so stalling it out becomes a lot easier when they're only able to hit Salt Cure. So yeah, looking forward to this one. They lead Tauros and Screamtail into Pelipper Amoonguss. And we see the Intimidate activate before our Pelipper's Drizzle, and Photosynthesis activates last was special defense. So the rare special defense boosting one is interesting. We are not amazingly equipped for that, but Iron Hand should be able to get the job done. So I'm just going to attack what's in front of me, go for Hydro Pump into the Fire-type Tauros, potentially force a Terra from them, and then put Screamdale to sleep. The special defense boost kind of suggests like a Trick Room or something like that, and they're switching out their Tauros. Right into Amoonguss, fair enough. So there is a light screen, definitely a smart call there. Now they'll be able to... Oh, that's annoying. Because now I definitely can't go for something cute like a Terraflying Hurricane, which I would otherwise probably do. But thankfully we have the built-in immunity here of Young Gholdengo. Clear Smog, I think, does more into Screamtail. Bug does Fairy does resist Bug, so we'll get a little chip damage off there. Clear Smog unfortunately won't knock off their special defense boost, so with Light Screen and all that business, they're going to be tanking hits, but we can at least start chipping away. And with Rain up, their Tauros doesn't really threaten our Gholdengo too much as long as we don't go for the... Oh, that's not no damage. Can't sneer at that. And they do go for the Spore, wisely. But, alas, not super useful there. Sorry, my dog was just kicking off. I think any damage I do into Screamtail is kind of just going to be Pollen Puffed away. So I think I will go right into my Pelipper here. And I'll just start covering switches, honestly. We're at a stalemate, but I'm able to do damage to their Amoonguss, and they're not really able to do any to mine, so I kind of just get Spores into their Screamtail slot as long as they stay in. Yeah, that's not doing a lot, but we are eventually going to get a special defense boost, or a drop, so I don't hate this. Yeah, and they do go for the Pollen Puff. But again, we can kind of just sit here and Spore. So not too interesting of a battle. I might speed this one up if it gets other leftovers. Okay. So I still think this is a winning position for me, but I might speed it up until something interesting happens, just because unless something drastically changes about the situation, I'm just going to keep hitting A and doing this same play. Okay, so they got a little more juice in the Screamtail than I was expecting. I know Wish is pretty common in singles, but this is the first I've seen one in VGC double battles, so that's really interesting. Rain finally stops, which is good for that I can reset it with Pelipper whenever I next switch in, but we're still kind of chilling. They lose their light screen, and I think we're still in a pretty strong spot. Like, I think I could try and read the Amoonguss switching out. I think if I were in a competitive set, I might try that, but yeah, they can't threaten me, so as long as I just keep Sporing that Screamtail slot, if they don't have a safety goggles Pokemon, I just do it. I just threaten them a lot. And there's Meowscarada. Haven't seen it in a while, so I'm mispronouncing it. Which is going to take a Shadow Ball and probably now be in Make It Rain range later on in the game. So, Tauros falls asleep, and I think now I'm pretty happy to go into Iron Hands rather than Pelipper, because a knockoff is definitely coming into the Gholdengo, and I No, I think I'll go Pelipper, actually. Even though Knockoff is going to do a lot, I think Pollen Puff knocks out their Meowscarada. With the 4x super effective, like it does a little more than 50% to Wo-Chien, and Meowscarada is no Wo-Chien based. Yeah, they go for Knockoff. Ooh, I forgot about Protean. Oh, they almost knocked out my Amogus. That could have been bad. Okay. I really underestimated that damage. Is that Choice Band? Yeesh. Okay. Okay, time to prioritize. I think I could lose this battle potentially if I'm not wise about this turn. I need Pelipper to keep refreshing Rain, is the fact of it. I think I'm going to... No, I think this was greedy. I think... Okay, I'm not going to get punished for it, but I think this play was a little bit greedy, given that if they do wake up and they have some coverage move or a close combat plus knockoff knocked out my Pelipper, it could have been a bit problematic for me, because then I can't really handle their Tauros, and yeah, I get Meowscarada down, but with no ability to reset Rain, no ability to immediately knock out Tauros, then the Tauros becomes really, really difficult for my team, because Gholdengo is pretty much my path forward in this match, but if they're able to navigate around it, then I'm not in hot shape. And Tauros was their main tool to do that. And Pelipper, sorry, getting all mixed around, but yeah, if Pelipper is alive, then Tauros is no longer a threat at all. I think I'm primed to now reveal my my little trickety trick. Go for the Terraflying Hurricane, which knocks out pretty much all Amogus, unless they Terra. Or have some augmenting boost like Light Screen, which is what I was worried about before. So we get the Pelipper flying about on its balloons. Terra here from the Amogus, which is Terra Poison. Terra Water would have been good because they would have lived, or they would have resisted my Make It Rain. Now, I think there's still a chance I could knock them out. Ooh, just below. Yeah, it's going to be very close on their Scream Tail. It's going to be close on the Amogus because they're at like 60. So if they're trained specially defensively, they'll live, and if not, then they won't. Yeah. So they do live, unfortunately. Fortunately for me, I can just go for another Make It Rain to knock that out, because we know that they're not... I mean, we saw no Citrus Berries, so this is the detriment of leftovers. In a long battle, let's take a look at Rain turns, actually. 2 turns. So if we switch in Iron Hands, that's 1 turn. We can fake out the Tauros next turn. I still feel pretty strong about this battle. But yeah, just looking back, if we had hit the Hydro Pump, I think earlier in the battle, that would have let us clear the Amogus in this case. Okay, yeah. So they recognize they need to get a bit of Generator, but fortunately for me, I'm able to... get in my Fake Out and stop Tauros, which is sleeping, I forgot about. When did I put Tauros to sleep? I want to say Tauros went to sleep with... I want to say Tauros only had... I don't think it's taken a sleep turn, so I'm going to Wild Charge and Make It Rain. clear a path for it to get not okay. Fair enough. That's why I went not for Drain Punch, but for Make It Rain in case Amoonguss switched in. Because now it's going to be a 3v1 with Pelipper in back. It is sleeping, but I can set up Rain, so I'm not really worried about this Tauros cleaning up in the late game. Fine. Oh, okay. So Amoonguss lives, troublingly, but once again, I don't think their Tauros has taken that sweet, sweet turn of sleep that it needs to be able to even give my opponent a chance. Is that true? No, it's not, because earlier in the battle I was worried about... Yeah, I kind of misplayed this a bit. Yeah, definitely super misplayed this. Because if their Tauros had woken up on that last turn, I lose my Gholdengo and then my Iron Hands is intimidated. And I might not be able to win, given that I've given away my Fairy type, or my Fire type weakness on the Pelipper. Yeah. Raging Bull. Okay, so very, very prepped for my fork. Wow. They were exceedingly prepped for opposing Scream's teams. But yeah, now we get the Gholdengo in. You see their Life Orb, so they're going to be gradually taking lots of damage on their happy little bull. And yeah, I think I just go for Make It Rain. Do I have to? Can I go for Shadow Ball into Tauros? Probably. But I think Make It Rain ends this battle faster, so that's what I'm going to go for. Yep. At this point I've kind of felt like I'd sussed out that the Amoonguss did not have Protect. Otherwise, in that earlier Stally Fest with the Gholdengo, Amoonguss Mirror plus Screamtail, they would have been protecting to get leftovers back to make that more favorable for themselves. But yeah, now I have too many... Yeah, in Rain, there's just too many Pokemon on the field for them to win with Life Orb. And yeah, we'll just clean it up with one more Make It Rain. So you kind of see the value of this Gholdengo just staying on the field, persistent, an option against Amoonguss, most critically. This team doesn't have any natural Amoonguss Spore switch-ins outside of our own Amoonguss, which, like we saw, kind of leads to these tense situations. So if I haven't gotten a Grass Terra on my Iron Hands, you really, really lean on the Gholdengo to have a leg against one of the best Pokemon in the metagame, an Amoonguss. Alright, yeah, I think that'll wrap it up for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I think this is easily my favorite team of the Benda. It feels like one of the only old school Trick Room hybrid teams, where Trick Room's like definitely a potent option that your opponent has to respect, but you're able to play out of it consistently with priority on Azumarill as well as the Choice Scarf Gholdengo. And it just has a lot of pivoting ability with Amoonguss and Iron Hand. And overall, it's a really impressive team building effort from Gavin. This is easily one of the coolest teams we've seen in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and I'm excited to see what future Rain teams will look like in Regulation D, but right now we're in a really good spot for Rain. Yeah, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, and subscribe if you can, and yeah, peace.